Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a dye? Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. That's a classic, yes. A standard role-playing dye with plant motifs. Now, for the material, most of my customers opt for an exotic wood. For this, I would suggest a Simonese snake wood. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours. It's an icosy tetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die with a single roll. Technically, you can also use it for many other sizes, but you may need to reroll results. Maybe you have some other ideas for dyes? A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you sure? Yes, you definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 100-sided dies, made of ivory and inlaid with lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet, to complement your magnetic personality?
Pieces of lodestone were used as the first magnetic compasses, from which they derived their other name, course stones. That's a stone for leaders.
10 real, and I can get these ready in 8 hours. It's true, magnetic dies are definitely different. When rolled together, the magnetic fields of the pips interact with each other to push and pull on each other as they're rolled, just like all magnetic personalities do. Great, see you in 8 hours then. Was there anything else?
Fuck does Kuno care? The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
The man is decomposing visibly now. Every hour, he looks less like a creature and more like a pile of intestines. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
The suzerainty box is heavy and slightly awkward in your hands. You give it a light shake and feel the pieces shift around inside. The lieutenant looks over the rulebook before he sees something that makes his eyes go wide.
Holy shit. The average playing time for this game is 1 to 6 hours. I'm not sure we can afford to set aside that kind of time for a game.
The payphone hangs mutely on the wall. There isn't much more to do here. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Yes, I got the mercenary's name and a few biographical details. Are you ready?
The lieutenant leans in to listen, notebook in hand.
That suit of armor was issued to an Oranese citizen named Elys Kortenaer. That's E-L-L-I-S Kortenaer. Exact date of birth, unknown. He was signed into the Lelystad County Neonatal Care Unit on 28th of February, 09. He was found as a newborn in a leaf compactor near an abandoned farm. He spent 4 months in the neonatal unit, survived apparently, and was assigned to a foster family at 2.
According to Klasia, Lele said his real name wasn't really his. Perhaps that's because he was fostered.
This is what the ICP knows about him. He was raised by foster parents, entered the Eastbrand Military Academy in Vredefort at 17, then served in the Oranese forces till he was honorably discharged in 41, just a year before the Seminese conflict. Then the armor followed him to Seminine, or at least I assume it did. And that's it. There are no records of his employment in Crenel, or any of its other incarnations, or him even entering Revachol. It's a garden tool used to press leaves into these cubes. It's a detail the hospital had, the only detail in these files. So I thought it would be good for you to know.
It is. Thank you, Alice.
None, officer. Sorry.
Even that is a small miracle. These organizations usually double-check their inventory. Thank you, Alice. Great work.
No problem, Lieutenant.
A compliment from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. Not bad.
A name. This is very good. Elys Kortenaer.
This means something to him. To know that name. Like naming a case. It's important. Sometimes police work is about human dignity, about giving back names to anonymous victims.
I'm glad the inquiry was helpful to your investigation, officer. Did you have any other questions? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
Now, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights. I know they are mesmerizing. They are also fragile. I'm not going to turn it on for you again.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same.
All right, this is how we're gonna do it.
Like what, officer? This is as good as they come in Revachol, I assure you.
An array of delicious recipes flashes through your mind. Salads, salmon, sandwiches, bingo. This calls for an engineering angle. Structural rigidity, exposed rafters, lattice works, that type of approach.
Mon Dieu, that is an excellent idea. That would virtually negate the component loss. Ce serait délicieux! Can you make that sandwich, officer? I hope you are not just tricking an old man out of the little he has left. Or god of sandwiches, maybe? But in the meanwhile, what can I do for you here and now, officer? Officer, I just can't do this right now. The Union, it just doesn't matter anymore. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it, but he's really gone.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. I repeat, an absolute Kent. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to. We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a Kant, and he died a Kant. Let's leave it at that. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but he just had to prove how tough he is.
Did he feel like he has to prove he can still pull his weight? Doesn't need handouts?
Yes, he was about to head home, 'cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him, 'cause he's gonna be buried without it. No, René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable.
He has doubts. But right now, he just wants to move on and not think about it.
I took them for myself. Took them to remember that old cunt. Nobody knew him better than I did. And I want to remember that old cunt by something.
Strange how old cunt sounds almost gentle when he says it now.
Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny... I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo. Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone.
Despite their differences, these men played such a significant part in each other's lives that now that one of them is gone, the other feels just lost.
I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something.
The ham sandwich looks fresh and nutritious in your hand, begging to be eaten. A treat of this magnitude should not be enjoyed alone. You jam your teeth into the sandwich and immediately feel a series of taste explosions go off in your mouth. It's like someone's carpet bombing your tongue with ambrosia. This is what angels must taste like. Your saliva production increases tenfold. You can barely contain it all. It really is every bit as good as it looked and smelled. The different components all chip in and complement each other, forming a flavor that is unique to this particular masterpiece. The bread, as the foundation of the sandwich, is slightly moist due to the tomato juice and mayo, but holds together nicely. Almost nothing falls off the sandwich. You feel like you really got everything out of this experience. The suzerainty box is heavy and slightly awkward in your hands. You give it a light shake and feel the pieces shift around inside. What is detective work if not an elaborate game? You need logical inference, attention to detail, the ability to analyze your opponent's motives.
I do feel like my thinking has become somewhat rigid. Maybe a little diversion to keep the mind limber is just what's in order.
See? He's doing the hard work himself. All he needed was a little nudge.
Alright. You've convinced me. How do we play?
You explain the basic setup procedures to the lieutenant, who seems to be a quick study. You each take your bag of tokens and counters and unfold the board between you. In the center is the crown of Revachol. Radiating outward are her colorful vessels, each one supplying some raw material desired by the suzerain. Apricots from Safre, archaeological treasures from Ilmarat, sugars from the Semenine Islands, and magenta cocaine from Supra Muindi and Sara Maritza. There's also a neat little log to keep track of your progress in case you need to put the game away and return to it later. The lieutenant goes first. He draws a contract card and moves several of his workers to the Safre territory of the board, and the others to the Semenine Islands.
All right, detective. Your turn.
You have a few options available to you. Will you try to fulfill contracts right away, or rearrange your workers to maximize production on future turns? Remember what the rulebook said. You'll want to choose a strategy early on and stay committed to it. You draw a contract card offering a number of coins in exchange for archaeological treasures. You place all your workers on the Ilmarat territory. On your next turn, you produce 6 units of archaeological treasure and fulfill the contract for a handful of coins.
Not bad, detective.
But not good enough, the lieutenant seems to be saying. As he completes his own contract card, the lieutenant is rewarded with 4 coins and a round wooden token that he places in the center of the board.
That's a market. It's worth 2 victory points. Don't worry, it was mostly just luck. You'll earn some points soon enough.
What is that patronizing tone? You're one of the suzerain's trusted administrators. You may need to put the lieutenant in his place.
Points are nothing. They don't exist. They're just an arbitrary convention that games use to reward or punish players for certain behaviors.
If points are really arbitrary, as the lieutenant says, what's to stop you from playing the game the way you want?
Game designers, I imagine? There are some paranoid types who believe the moral intern keeps detailed score sheets for everyone in the Real Belt, but that's obviously nonsense. Otherwise, no. There are no points, just your actions and the consequences of those actions.
Just like there are no honor points, none whatsoever.
That's just the way it is. Now, I believe it's your turn.
Glancing over the board, you see several possible strategies. Pressing more workers into service would increase your economic output and help you to survive a possible conflict with the lieutenant. Or you could ignore your labor supply and focus on fulfilling contracts for points and resources. Those aren't your only options. You could also show your workers how much you appreciate them by investing some of that wealth in them. After all, they're the ones producing wealth for the suzerain. Well, sure, you can do that. It's just not a terribly effective strategy, but then it's up to you. Who cares about workers or territories when the real action is in Revachol? You spend your turns fulfilling contracts for sweet coins and one-time bonuses. After several turns, you have a neat pile of cardboard coins and several units of archaeological treasure, which you trade in to build a museum. You place a cylindrical piece of wood on found the Revachol section in the middle of the board. It's meant to stand in for a beautifully adorned edifice filled with ancient wonders. This is more or less what happened in real life as well. To this day, if Ilmarans want to see their nation's priceless treasures, they have to visit Revachol, or Gottwald, or Sur-le-Clay.
Well played, detective. That museum is worth 3 victory points.
Now it's the lieutenant's turn to respond. He moves aggressively onto the Safre territory. Soon, his workers are producing a steady supply of extremely valuable apricots. For several turns, you struggle to respond to the lieutenant's burgeoning apricot empire. Eventually, you relocate the majority of your workers to Supremawindi and Saramaritsa, where they begin producing a bumper crop of cocaine tokens. You draw a new contract card. According to the text, there's an aristocrat willing to trade a large supply of cocaine for a number of coins and access to a rare bonus. Amplified music worth 7 victory points. You know, this isn't unlike the situation the historical Revacholian suzerainty faced in Safre in the middle of the last century. Well, the suzerain was looking for new markets for all the cocaine it was producing, and it settled on Safre. By introducing cocaine into Safre under exclusive contract, the suzerain created an extremely valuable captive market for an extremely addictive product. If you could somehow get the lieutenant's workers addicted to your cocaine, you could not only make them less productive, you would also force the lieutenant to pay you for your cocaine tokens each turn. Yes, you can. It's right there in the rules. Now's your chance. Show the lieutenant what happens when he patronizes you. You've reached a critical strategic juncture. How do you respond to the lieutenant's aggression? It takes several turns, but you slowly begin accumulating the cocaine necessary to complete the contract. When you do, it practically rains cardboard coins on your side. Despite your trash talking, the lieutenant still has a formidable store of coins and resources. The end game is upon you. How will you spend the vast resources you've acquired for the glory of the suzerain? Flipping through the manual, you find the most expensive structure in the game, the Revacholian victory column, worth 12 victory points. If you can successfully build it, victory would be all but assured. Alternatively, you could try launching a trade war to crush the lieutenant's economy, or you could blow all that money on a public education system for your worker tokens. The choice is yours. Using the substantial coins and resources you've accumulated from diligently fulfilling contracts and constructing trade routes, you spend your final turns constructing the ultimate structure in the game, the Revacholian Victory Column. With a triumphant flourish, you remove a rectangular token from one of the satchels and place it next to your museum cylinder in the center of the board.
They are nice tokens, yes. Very impressive. Now, let's tally up the scores, shall we?
Computing the final scores is almost a game unto itself. You each spend an inordinate amount of time making stacks of coins, consulting tables, and struggling with basic addition and multiplication. After double, then triple checking your maths, you have your final score. 35 victory points. The suzerain will be extremely pleased.
I've got 26 points. Looks like you won convincingly. Well played, detective. Now let's clean up and get back to work.
You hold the open game box before you. All those empty wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really, really hard here.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. It really, really doesn't. Let's turn our attention elsewhere and move on.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. René left his uniform neatly folded on the table. Generally speaking, it would be dishonorable to take it, but then it looks like a military uniform, and wearing that is very honorable. So, a conflict of honor, it's up to you.
I suppose René is not going to be needing it anymore. It's a bit too colorful for my taste, though. Fantastic. Try not to wear it with other similarly colorful clothes, okay?
common office radio, like any of those found in countless waiting rooms, lounges, and other semi-public spaces all over the world.
There's usually a little switch somewhere. Ah yes, it's the one that says release.
The lock disengages with a nice click. You may now safely remove the transceiver unit. There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. It's about the size of a common pasta box, with knobs of molded plastic. What else is there to say? If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm. Perfectly competent, but unexceptional.
Yes, reliable and unassuming are definitely words I'd use to describe you.
Regardless, the transceiver appears to take your words as a compliment.
You've surprised me more than once during the course of our investigation, but I have to say it still seems like a remote scenario.
With its transceiver gone, the radio has ceased its persistent buzzing. It is as silent as a headstone. In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped in a passionate embrace. The tagline reads, "Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen." That seems to sum up the premise nicely. Needless to say, it violates nearly every RCM regulation for a detective to investigate a murder in which he is a suspect.
Are you really reading that, detective? Good luck finding it. He's not much of a character, I think you'll find. Just a stand-in for the reader.
The point is for the reader to feel like they're solving the crime along with Dick Mullen. A crude narrative convention, but no less effective for it. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindian coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. An extremely unprofessional and hurtful stereotype that's offensive to all upstanding officers of the law. 2 days later, Mullin is arrested by the Vesper police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullin learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullin dropped him off in by a man matching Mullin's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullin manages to convince the Vesper police to release him for 3 days so that Mullin may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence. Of course, Mullin didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullin returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneuve. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullin begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullin's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. Well, that testimony won't be admissible any longer. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Diana Deneuve turns to Mullin and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you. I love you." Always aim for the center of mass. Whatever it is, Mullin never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. When Mullin comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullin trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body, if they haven't been tipped off already. Fleeing a crime scene, destroying evidence. Even if Detective Mullin didn't commit the murder, he should be facing years behind bars. Dick Mullin won't be sent to the clink for the sake of some legal niceties. The heat is on. If Dick Mullin can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life. Can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, Detective? It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullin never lets anyone get too close. There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective. Dick Mullin was made to crack skulls and solve cases. It's who he is. He could no more stop being a detective than a tiger could cease to be a predator in the night. You're no tiger though, Harry. You're a man. It's your curse to have to choose. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. A collection of brittle, cheaply printed pages held together by glue made from the hooves of horses. You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. Is it really so evil, Detective? Then why are you still here? What are you trying to prove exactly? And what will change if you do manage to prove it? But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed and discarded. So, who did it, detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Have you been paying attention at all? It wasn't Mullen. It was an imposter. Now go on. Find out who really did it. You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You're turning pages so fast, you don't even notice the ancient spine coming unglued. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone. Dozens of pages scatter across the floor. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take way too long.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last. Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, detective?
In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The edges of the pages are worn and smudged. A lot of people have read about the Devil Woman's altercations with the Hjelmdal man. The jacket copy proclaims, "Man from Hjelmdal returns in his most exciting adventure yet. After crashing into a strange jungle, cannibalistic natives abduct his only surviving comrade, Noble Tiribold. Before Man from Hjelmdal can mount a rescue, he is ambushed by a tribe of female warriors and taken to the ancient citadel of Cloud City, where a mysterious and wicked queen rules supreme. Will Man from Hjelmdal be able to escape his dire situation and find his missing friend?" You open the book to a random page. Man from Hjelmdal, wielding his 2 Zweihanders, is carving through a sea of savages, his visage fixed in grim determination. His arms, whirling like windmills, are soaked with the blood of his enemies. Mangled corpses litter the battlefield. Good God, this is some retrograde stuff. When was this shit written? You flip to the copyright page. This book was written in '38. Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Hjelmdala tribe. From the village of Hjelmdal, the ivory giant roars like an ice bear, and the winds of Gatla howl out his name. Man from Hjelmdal rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. Both Zweihanders sheathed on his back. He is off to war. Will he conquer his enemies? Will he conquer himself? The steel muscles of Man from Hjelmdal gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts in the frigid northlands he calls home. A passage reads, "The man from Hjelmdal looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence, wicked temptress. Son of Yelmdal will never succumb to your seductive wiles. Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will. Brothers of Yelmdal, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife. Queen Lydiana just laughs, a sultry and salacious sound, then says, I have grand plans for you, man from Heimdall. She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the man from Heimdall. Yet inside, there is turmoil. This goes against all he holds sacrosanct. This is beyond primitive. In the final pages, man from Heimdall mounts Gallavarin, his mighty griffin, and turns his gaze to the horizon. Queen Lydiana is dead, but an army of cannibals is storming the gates, and still there's no word of trusty Tyribald. To find out what happens next, you'll have to pick up Man from Heimdall and the Three-Eyed Skull, available in fine bookstores everywhere. Spring 39. Cleaning out the rooms. What if you didn't lose your memory? What if something in Martinez came and stored it all away, for you to slowly open one box at a time, so you can choose which parts to keep? Keep almost none of it. Only the flowers on the windowsill. Only the distant sound of a radio. Lose all the actors, the dark shadows. Leave only the still lifes, the blissful distant wash of waves. If everybody knew, you never did. She'll be coming soon. That is all. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer.
Again, I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. Here you go, mister. Here you go, mister.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. You clearly see footprints in the downy carpet of dust covering the workshop floor.
Jackpot. These, unlike everything else here, are new.
This window is pristine on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo. Golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. A two-hearted spider. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain, ending him. From the roof outside, location A prime, the glass fractures around the bullet hole, shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points. There could have been Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago. "72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition, a Belma-grave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them one shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium, a well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside in the darkness, too busy with their own bodies. Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, detective. None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any. That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet, detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. "700 meters away. The likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. "1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions. Let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. "1 kilometer away, a point beyond the docks, on an islet in the bay. The fort is ruined, but the perpetrator may have found a stable spot on the beaches surrounding it, where the concrete crumbles into the sea, as you saw in the coin-operated viewer. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10 and 33A. The angle would have been extreme, and access to the islets is questionable.
From where, precisely? I see you have given this a lot of thought. Are those the locations you've singled out in addition to the roof? And what is the likelihood, in your opinion, that it came from a further distance? Okay, well, we should see if there is gunshot residue or sniper nests if we go down the coast. Rule these spots out one by one. It would be the diligent thing to do. Until then, personally, I'm going with the roof version. It fits the hidden path through the whirling. A simple hypothesis.
over there, in the corner. Not just any pinball machine. This is the pinnacle of pinball. Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats. It's lit. You can't wait to get your hands on it. Lit, a phrase almost synonymous with the Insulindian pinball scene. Any pinball scene, really.
The pinball machine. Gordy's Goats, a classic. Ah, great.
Cornelius Gordy and the Mountain Goats reads the golden lettering on top of the back box. There's a small column of text underneath. The machine is coin-operated. Get the game on, Fingerboy. Those flippers are ready. Above the painting of a mustached man climbing a hill, a column reads, inspired by the legend of Cornelius Gordy, taken on the world's tallest peak, Corpus Muindi. The Mesk legend holds that when the nation is in danger, heroic Gordy shall return and save his people. The theme of the game is to explore Gordy's climb through the perspective of goats and to ascend to the top of the mountain in a time of trouble. The peak of the mountain is at the top of the playfield. All the balls have small goat icons on them and represent the goats as they race up and down the mountain. Areas around the playfield represent Gordy's climb, places he was said to have camped, which the goats can discover. Get them to the summit. Indeed, think of them as balls. It takes a while to get into a rhythm, but pretty soon you're able to keep 3 goat-faced balls in play with relative ease. Go, go, Fingerboy.
I feel sorry for the goats. If they only knew the kind of guy old Cornelius really was. The kind of a guy who uses the word savages a lot when recounting his travels. The masked nationalist. An avid huntsman too. He was often photographed in his dining hall, surrounded by wall-mounted hunting trophies from every continent. He also hit his wife and kids, other people's kids too, sometimes pets. Hateful little man. But you seem to be having fun.
Your game is definitely improving. The jolly goats are flying all over the board, and although a few plummet to their deaths, you're never left with less than 3. Suddenly, a special passage leading to the summit slides open at the top of the board. This is where the balls need to go. Maneuvering a goat ball into a position for a perfect hit isn't easy. More fall to their deaths. But finally, the opportunity presents itself. One of them gets through. Tiny hammer shatters something inside the machine. Something blasts. An ampoule? The words "pale rupture" light up on the speaker panel, and the machine starts filling with a thick, milky fog. Something's happening.
Congratulations. This is where the game ends. It's a cheap way of getting more money out of the players. A stupid, nihilistic finale.
There's so much fog, you can barely see anything. Some is actually leaking out of the machine, and one by one, your goats start slipping, disappearing into the milky nothingness. This can be navigated. The balls leave almost imperceptible disruptions in the fog. Use them to calculate where they hit next. The amount of focus it takes to predict when a ball goat is in striking range is staggering, but it can be done. Focus. You're down to your last goat, going mostly by sound. Eyes are useless at this point, but that goat is something special. 5 times you snatch him back from the jaws of death. You're in a perfectly balanced system where neither you nor the power is able to get the upper hand. This could go on forever.
I am. I've seen it before. Played it too. You will eventually make a mistake and then it's all over.
How, if you can't even see it? The last goat plummets into the fog with almost suicidal glee. There goes nothing, finger boy.
Yes?
It's you again. What is it? Why? Sounds like you want to push this steaming pile of shit on anyone. And now you pick Ruby. Well, not on my watch you won't. Ruby's one of us. We're not gonna throw her under your moral intern steamroller. Fuck that shit.
And fuck you too, moral
Ruby is missing. If you hide from the police in a murder investigation, you become a suspect. You know how it works, guys.
That's nothing. That's just legalese. You don't even have a sound theory. I don't want to be rude, but we're trying to get some R&R here. Think you could fuck off now?
I think we'll keep sticking around, Titus. You'll be surprised at how quickly a theory presents itself if you keep looking.
A sudden flash of lightning in your neocortex. The hostel cafeteria is lit by its airy blaze. Floor plans, bullet trajectories, webs of human emotion, all channeled into a single thought.
Because she was here, all night, with us.
He's cobbling together shit so he can put her away. It's Cop 101.
She was here all night, 11:30 to 12:15. She was here during all that time.
Yeah, with us, drinking, near the stage there.
No.
That's a lie.
All right. She took a fucking leak, okay? For one moment. Maybe went out too. She has an operation to run from her lorry. We're not getting into what that operation is again, Cop.
That's probably for the best. Don't break your stride now.
And just 'cause she was gone for 5 minutes doesn't mean she magically got to the roof and shot him. I've been through this. It's not plausible.
He's been through it. That means he's suspected her too. All right, we're in. We got Ruby unaccounted for sometime during the window. This was crucial. Now let's place her on that roof.
Why not? You can't draw a straight line into Clausia's window from any of the surrounding buildings. Not from what I know about Martinez. Maybe from the coast. But like I said, I've been too busy dealing with you idiots. So no, I don't think it was a sniper. It was close up. 72%. There's a percentage and all. Where'd you get it from? Your guys in the lab?
Definitely lie. The truth is not credible.
No, you can't. I know what you did here on the weekend. People talk. And what they say doesn't sound like a science cop. You're a madman.
Those numbers were an ass pull, man.
Yeah, and they don't put her on the roof either. It's just mambo jumbo. He hasn't got shit.
Oh. People say there was a pinball arcade here, sometime before the hostel. What was it called, Theo?
East Delta Pinball Arcade. Weird place. Went bankrupt.
Okay, but how'd you get up? There's no room for a staircase in this building. Or an elevator, for that matter.
The elevator is outside the building. It's an old dumbwaiter used for moving pinball machines up and down from the workshop. Thank you.
The lieutenant is glad he got the floor plan right there.
Ruby could have gone up, shot him, come down, all under 7 minutes.
That's quite the theory. We need to have a look at that secret passage, boys.
I'm on it, boss. Right when the law clears, me and Angus are going up there.
It's a dumb waiter, not an industrial lift. How about I go instead of...
Just now. You got something else to back this route up? Or is that it? I've seen the winch. I'm not blind. You saying it's part of the elevator she used to get up there? That's one mystery down then. An architectural mystery. Doesn't much concern Ruby, does it? Footprints. Recent.
The tracks were recent, but not worn down in the right foot like Ruby's. It's best to omit this pesky little polemic for now. Too confusing.
That close, huh? How fortunate. I'll take a thorough look at those prints myself before I believe that call. Good news is, I'm still listening. I don't like guessing, Cope. No one does.
It opens the steel door in the kitchen, the one that leads upstairs to the roof. This key was right here, with you, all the time.
Quit jumping to conclusions, Theo. You took that key. Did it look like it was recently put there?
Now, the ribbon was old, faded. It'd been there for 20 years at least.
Why? This doesn't make sense. It's damn interesting, but it doesn't fit well, and you know it.
It doesn't fit well, but it fits, and he knows it.
Firmly doesn't go well with could've. There's a route to the roof. Me and the boys need to check it out. That's what we established. But a route does not put that bullet in his head. A gun does that, and Ruby doesn't carry one.
Phase 2, murder weapon. Get a gun in her hand. If not that, then at least a shadow of a doubt, in the shape of a gun. Just don't contradict yourself. If it doesn't sound like Ruby did it, maybe keep it to yourself. But what if you miss interesting information that way? The choice is ultimately yours. But
God damn. That's just about your favorite topic, isn't it? Every fucking 5 seconds.
you were warned not to bring it up. Your best shot here is to just back out of it.
Okay, cop. She's got connections. I could see how she could have access to a gun. That still doesn't mean she did.
That's all you needed. Doubt.
That looks antique. A Bell McGrave. It's inoperable. Where'd you get it?
20, maybe 30 rifles, Titus. Also broken, but still, there were too many. And there must be other caches too.
God damn it. We need to close that dump down for good.
Okay, I see your point. There are guns lying around. Damn it. I thought we'd found all the old spots. Why was that still there?
We just missed one. Ruby doesn't know this place, boss. Just these cops digging up shit.
So
it had to come from a breech-loading rifle. Military grade. Not even you militia monkeys have those. This goes against your everyone has a gun theory. If it was military grade, how'd Ruby get it?
You don't know. Just be honest. Screw honest. You just showed him a breech-loading gun.
A broken old broomstick is what you showed me. But point taken.
Time to really close the deal. Show them the bullet. The blonde man looks at the mushroomed Deathbringer in the evidence bag and says,
Yeah, the bitch is jacketed all right. 4mm too.
"Whoa."
Well, goddamn. It's not proof, but it's a possible murder weapon. Close to her. Too damn close. You have been thorough. I'll give you that. All right. Keep talking. I'm getting a bit curious about some things myself.
T, we're not seriously considering it, are we? Ruby wouldn't do this. Why would she do something like this?
Phase 3. Motive. The last component. The big one. Get this and they'll give her to you. Remember, don't piss him off. That never works.
And I suppose you have a theory on that.
Think about it. Why go through all that effort? It was her idea, wasn't it? The hanging. You went along, but she suggested it.
She had, like, a fully formed plan and shit. Right when she came back downstairs.
really, Shanks? Claudia wanted to talk to another girl, that's all. She was just the first one up there. I could have come up with that plan if I'd have been first.
Time for a logics demonstration. He scoffs.
Think. You kill him. Get up there. Shoot him. Get down.
The man is silent.
If she used us to cover her own shit up, well, that's a serious violation of the Hardy Code, boss.
Which is why she didn't. She would never do that. Why aren't more of you defending her? This is fucking stupid, Titus.